Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli, and tonight my guests are, first up, recently seen at your local shopping centre with a couple of dogs tied to his wheelchair and a child on his knee. Ho, 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 it's Danny the GFP.
You've got to make ends meet, haven't you? These Pringles don't buy themselves.
Back, the first intro. That's an old school intro, that is. You can tell
I don't remember it.
I'll recharge my batteries like a fucking Energizer bunny. Anyway.
Well, you haven't been missed because Jason and Chris were brilliant.
I know, they did a wonderful job, didn't they?
I didn't even know she were gone for the first month. Where's that ginger bloke with the Welsh accent gone?
Disappeared.
And Jay said, I'm here, boy.
I don't know. Right, next up, the man that provided those dogs. It's Wenger apologist, Geoff Arsenal.
Hello.
Hello, Geoff. Long time.
How you doing? It's been a long time, mate. I was really worried about you. I thought they'd slung you over the Severn Bridge, mate. I really did.
Hey, it was touch and go for a minute there, mate, but I'm still here.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Good to see you back anyway. That's the main thing.
It's a pleasure to be back. Thank you very much. Our next guest comes courtesy of ABW's very own radio show. Podcast debutant, it's Ellis Mell. Hello, Ellis.
Hello, Gimli. I'm looking forward to having my podcast virginity taken by you.
Yes, I believe we've spoken a couple of times on the Transfer Deadline Day show, which we will be doing again this year, and I will be doing it. So if there's anyone listening now that wants to take part, drop me a DM and we will pen you in. Anyway. Right, we will move on. And finally, at ABW, we try to bring you the best of the best. And this week, we've smashed it once again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce the man with the shittest beard in sports journalism. It's Mr. John Welsh.
Oh, Gim, it's so good to have you back, mate. And that, honestly, like, I know Danny was being nice about Jason Chris, but no one does intros like you, mate.
Thank you very much. I felt like I lost my way, but I feel that I've weighed in with a couple of good ones here. And I feel I might tee it off a few weeks' time, another couple of cheeky ones. Who knows?
Spot on, mate. Spot on.
Exactly. Who knows where we will. Right then. First up, we'll continue as we always do by going to Danny, who has all the scores across the board and a loan watch.
Righty-ho. And we'll start with the injuries. We've got the Ox's... he's got a hamstring injury, unknown return date. Welbeck has been out for 228 days, due back any day. Good. And then he'll be out within the week of that. Aaron Ramsey, the Welsh legend, he'll be back any day. He's been out for 16 days of a hamstring. Mustafi has been out for 12 days of hamstring. It also says he's back any day. I thought he was out for longer than that. This is all from arsenalreport.com. Go follow him on Twitter because they're brilliant. Debuchy, hamstring, 25 days lost, out for 3 weeks. Mertesacker, who is it? Gunnerblog and Askcast have done a fantastic, another Christmas song about the BFG. There you go. Go and have a look at it on YouTube or on their Twitter. It's really, really good as usual. Not quite those dizzy heights that the Let It Go, the version of Let It Snow that they did a couple of years ago, but that was magnificent. Mertesacker been out for 155 days, a non-specific knee injury, back in a month. Which is weird because I saw someone on Instagram, AFC stuff, say that he's back in the squad for the Everton game. Damn gone bullshitted. Chuppa Apcom.
Akpom.
Shut your face.
Fuck's sake, nothing changes.
He's had it changed. He's been out for 105 days with a back injury. He's got 5 weeks left. And little Santi Cazorla over the quietest feet in football. He's been out for 64 days. He's got 2 months left with an Achilles. And there we go. There's only been one youth game. It was in the Under-18s Cup. We lost 1-0 at home to Blackburn Rovers, who are apparently quite a decent team. Although we had the likes of Mullen and Nikita and Reece Nielsen got sent off, and then Callum Willock come on and, couldn't do anything about it. So we're out of the cup now, so it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to use George Bird's stuff, which is on Twitter. If you go and follow him, it's JeorgeBird. Anything that you want to know about youth football, he knows it because the man is a genius. So I'm just going to use his roundup for the loanees. Sorry, Jace, you have a little sleep while I do this. He says, Jack Wilshere lasted 90 minutes and set up a goal for Nathan Ake in Bournemouth's 3-1 loss to Southampton. This is all on arsenalyouth.wordpress.com. Always go there and have a little look and see what the latest news about the Utes is. Callum Chambers played the entirety of Middlesbrough 3-0 victory over Swansea City. Wojciech Szczesny played the whole game as Roma lost 1-0 to Juventus. Did you watch that, John?
Yes, I did. He had a good game, but Juve just way too good. So it would have been a bigger scoreline if it weren't for him. He's doing really well there.
That was their 25th straight win for the second time, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think Roma have even took a point off them at the J Stadium since they've moved there. So
the last time they took a point off them, Batigol was probably playing up front. Takuma Asano, our Japanese legend, says, no, he doesn't say anything. It says here, started on the right wing, played the full game, and Stuttgart were beaten 3-0 by Wurzburg Kickers. That's surely a made-up name. Anyway, that must have been in a cup or something, because I don't know. Because Stuttgart were second in the Division 2 and they're brilliant. Joel Campbell played the full 90 minutes. Now, that is a bloody rarity. Sporting Lisbon lost 1-0 to Sporting Braga. I'd say that's probably a cup game as well, because Sporting Lisbon are really good. Ryan Huddart played the whole game as Eastleigh were beaten 4-3 by Southport. Now, he hasn't played many games. Did I say South Park? Southport. He's not played many games this season, but they've just got rid of their manager and they got in ex-Barnet manager, but he left Barnet. Martin Allen, Mad Dog Allen, is now the manager of Eastleigh. I'm sure that's right. So he won't be too happy about that. Julio Pellegrino played 71 minutes and was booked as Mallorca's 3-1 loss to Numancia. Oh, good. Super John Turrell, future Spanish legends, played for the first 45 minutes as Granada. That's not the Ford version. Were beaten 2-0 by Real Sociedad. Tafari Moore played the whole game as Utrecht reserves lost 4-2 to Cambuur, and that's in the Dutch second division, because they have Utrecht and Utrecht 2, which I think is their reserves. And Glenn Kamara, no relation to Chris, wasn't involved as Colchester United beat Notts County 2-1. Notts County are going really well in League 2, or do, if it's Chris. And finally, Kalichi Nwakalaki is expected to start when Maastricht play PSV 2 tonight. Stefan O'Connor will probably make the bench. There you go. And he put all that up 3 days ago, so that PSV one might have already happened. I don't know. There you go. That's all of it.
Sounds like you've given up. Honestly, you didn't even half-ass try and pronounce some of those names. Who was Nwakalaki?
I don't know. North Kakalaki. I think that's where Jason lives. They've got a team playing in the Dutch second division, I think.
Oh, fair enough.
I can't say his name.
I stand
the
corrected.
Nigerian kid, isn't it?
It is. He is absolutely brilliant, apparently.
Yeah. One for the future, then.
Yes.
We'll continue this week's podcast by talking about Arsenal's game away to Man City on Sunday. 2-1 was the score on the day, and for his thoughts, we'll go to John.
Yeah, it was not the result we wanted, especially after the Everton game. Very disappointing. I thought we were decent first half. We looked like we had a plan, kind of similar to that game a few years ago where Cazorla first appeared in midfield next to Coquelin, sort of that centre mid role, where we were happy to sit back, soak up a bit of pressure and try and hit him on the break. Obviously, perfect start with Walcott getting that early goal. Really good finish from him, great ball from Sanchez, and just exploiting the sort of weakness that City had at the back. And for most of the first half, I was fairly happy with the performance, the way we played. City obviously had a good couple of chances, so they're going to do because they're a decent side. But we looked fairly comfortable. We looked like we could get another goal. I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't push a little bit harder maybe in the first half to try and get the second. But then second half, we just came out and conceded that really stupid goal so early on. Just bad defending. Sane, I know we got unlucky with the decision in being offside, but just really poor all round, and it just shook the team. And you can see their confidence completely drained out of them. And the second half performance was so bad. They didn't look confident at all at the back. Gabriel looked to be sort of being targeted by Man City because he wasn't comfortable on the ball, passing it out from the back like we've had with Mustafi in the past. Coquelin and Xhaka looked shot in midfield. Ozil was walking about the pitch doing nothing. Sanchez was sort of closing down and doing that kind of thing. But if he's pressing on his own and there's no one else up there with him, it's just not going to work. And, second goal, I think Cech could have done better at his near post. A couple of people were saying about David Silva being offside, but I don't think that was, to be honest. Again, poor defending. Monreal just shows him inside way too easy. Koscielny doesn't pressure him enough. Should be showing him outside there, taking it to the byline. And it was just from what looked like a promising game where we might be able to get a result and really rock Man City, who haven't been in great form, and are also missing some big players. We go and capitulate, and just it's so disappointing. I think the manager's subs as well. I got Iwobi coming off. It's fine. Oxlade-Chamberlain, obviously unfortunate with the injury, but taking off Coquelin, I know you're going for it a bit, but bringing Giroud on ain't going to help. It's going to slow the game down. It was so disappointing after the Everton game where we kind of been bullied out of it. You thought, right, we're going to come to the Man City game, get a result, and at least a draw. Just put in a performance. I haven't got a problem with losing to Man City. They're a really good team. They're going to be up there pushing for the title all season. But it's the manner of the performance, especially in the second half, was so bad. And I think you just saw the away fans. They were brilliant on the day, but I would have been so fed up going to watch that. Especially the way we played in the first half. I think we could have won the game, or we could have really scored 2 or 3 quite comfortably against City. But we just did that same thing again: go a goal in front, and then and then sit off them and not try and kill the game off.
See, it's amazing. We'll try to pick apart that in a second. But now, on Friday night, I believe it was, I was asked to do a bit on a radio show, XS Manchester Radio, and both the presenters on there both believed, from watching Man City this season, one was actually a Man City fan, that we were going to go up there and turn them over. As you said, John, we got the Walcott goal fairly early, and as a spectator, I thought we could have built on that. Their defence looked at 6s and 7s, and it just seemed like we disappeared second half. Geoff, coming to you next, why do you think we just crumbled? Basically, we just sat off and just let them play their game.
Yeah, spot on. I think John was absolutely spot on with what he was saying. I mean, it's so it was most disappointing performance all season for me, that, because they looked like they was there for the taking. We got that early goal, all that for most of that first half. We looked like we was going to go in or 2 or 3 up, which would have been okay, would have been fine, and we was relinquishing possession to Man City, trying to do the job that we did in the 2005 performance when we went up there that John alluded to. And to be honest with you, I just think they got caught between the two. I mean, it's okay for teams like West Brom, Stoke, and no disrespect to them, but when they go to the bigger teams, they'll set their stall out and they'll just defend and hope to hit you on the break. Now, that's all right where they can do that, because they're training like that every single week. They do 3-4 days on the training pitch. Arsenal don't play that way, and I just think they got caught in between, playing the Arsenal way and trying to defend. And as a team, I just think it just all went horribly wrong. And once you play like that, and you keep playing like that, and you go in front, and you keep playing like that, and it's very, very difficult to flick the switch back on to, when you need to attack and got to try and get back into the match. And I was so disappointed. And I think really, I would have just, especially with their defence, I would have just gone up there, the Arsenal way of playing, and just try to pass the ball around them and do all the attacking instead of just sitting back. I mean, Czech, every time he got the ball, he was kicking it up. And I just thought it just looked odd. We normally throw the ball out and pass through midfield and stuff like that and get around the side of them. That just wasn't happening. It was a big lump upfield. Obviously, we didn't have Giroud up top. So the ball was more or less coming back with relinquishing possession all the time. And I think it was wrong tactics. And unfortunately, if Wenger is giving them tactics, it's a mistake from him. And it's a mistake from the team, because they didn't carry out what he was asking them to do. So they both got it. All of them got it completely wrong, and I was so disappointed, because we could have laid a marker down up there.
I think you'd be very hard pushed to give anybody praise from that game. I mean, you look at Xhaka was terrible. Who else? I mean, it's just picking out. I didn't think Gabriel put himself in the best lights. Mesut Ozil walked most of the game. But then again, if he's not getting the service, what do you expect him to do? He's never been a player that's going to come track back and get the ball. I agree with you, Geoff. I think it's just one of those things. It's a bit of a clusterfuck, isn't it? Whether the tactics were wrong or whether the players didn't turn up and execute that tactics, I don't think we'll ever know. But hey ho. Ellis, we'll come to you next and we'll talk about the City goals. Now, both of them had a little bit of a problem. Sani was pretty much, it's touch and go whether he was offside. Some people will say yes, some people will say no. And the problem with the second one was that David Silva could have been interfering with play. From watching the Czech interview afterwards, he said that Silva was in his eye line, so it could have been given offside quite easily. So let's have your thoughts on both of those decisions, and then we'll go to the rest of the panel just to see if they agree or disagree.
Yeah, like you said, it's just one of those. Both those decisions could have gone either way. On another day, they might have been called for offside. But I think the way we sort of played, we invited that sort of pressure on, and I think they probably would have scored a goal another way if they had been called offside, because we just really weren't like Geoff and John have said. We handed them the initiative, and we just sort of lost hold of the game. Like, we started well, and I think for me personally, both those goals, being biased, I'd probably say they were offside, but more so the David Silva one with him infecting play. Sane's really tight to call. I think, like, if I call that there and then in the moment, it's really hard to call, and I'd probably agree with the ref if I was being completely unbiased. But of the two, I think Silva might have been the controversial decision. But I was a bit disappointed in Czech getting beaten by his near post twice. It is hard. Like, I think he should do better there, but you can't really dig him out too much because, like you said, a lot of the guys didn't have a very good game. It was just a poor day at the office, like Geoff said, tactically and from the execution of the players. It wasn't not a game we're going to remember, really, is it? To be honest.
No, definitely not. Is there anybody that disagrees with that? Danny, what are your thoughts on the potential offsides?
I would say, yeah, so close. But we were talking before the pod, trying to figure out whose heel it was that almost kept the player on side for the first goal, and I don't think that's enough. That was. I think it definitely was offside, but the linesman on that side, because he was on the far side from where the camera was, and he hadn't kept up with play. Now, if he would have kept up with play, he probably would have seen that it was offside, but he wasn't. This is why I've thought for years, so it's just logical. You have 4 linesmen, you have 2 on each side of the pitch, and so you have all 4 halves, like left, right, and then our half and their half. Have linesmen there, because then they can try and track each other, because sometimes they use the lines in the pitch, which is how I tell. And then without the replay, and then they should have some system like that. But that's just taking away what makes football great. We're going to get goals like that for us and goals like that against us. But the thing that really has annoyed me, rather than going over what that lot have said, which is really good points, what the hell does Lucas Perez have to do to get a game? Scores a hat trick against Basel away in the Champions League, and in the next 4, how many games is it? For the next 3 games, he gets to play the grand total of 2 minutes against away at Everton. I mean, when we're already 2-1 down. I mean, what the bloody hell is that all about? He played against Forest in the League Cup, got a couple of goals. He got 2 assists against Ludogorets at home. He got that was for Deportivo, that one. So I mean, he's only played 2 full 90-minute games for us, settling into the team, and he's already got 5 goals and 2 assists and a man of the match. I mean, what the hell? What does this person have to do to get a game? How many players have ever got hat-tricks in the Champions League? I don't care whether it's away at Basel that are a half-decent team, or whether it's against some part-timers from the middle of nowhere. He's shown that he can score goals. He's shown that he's adaptable, where he can play in any one of the 4 front positions, much like Sanchez can, but he's just not getting the games. And it is just an absolute... it's unfathomable why he keeps doing that. And the other thing that really winds me up is Ozil. He's a fantastic player, and players are allowed to have bad games. But you look at the really big games this season so far. Against Man City, I'm going by whoscored.com, which use Opta rating, so argue with them, not me. Against Man City, he got a rating of 6. Away at Everton, he got a 6.26. And then away at Man United, he got a 6.38. At home to PSG, he got 6.55. And then there's some other ones. Away at Burnley, a 6.69. And then away at PSG, a 6.37. Now, what is the point in having this world-class, wonderful, delightful player to watch, who against Ludogorets at home can get a hat-trick, an assist, and man of the match? And in 1 game this season, he got that was an Opta rating of 10. I've never seen a player get 10 before for us this season. I don't think anybody else has, apart from, I think, in that game, the Ox got a 10 as well, but I think the person who was doing that was probably on some kind of amphetamines to make him believe that the Ox had just as good a game as Ozil did that game. But it's just, I don't understand how a player with so much ability and so much skill, I mean, we've all moaned that Ozil wasn't scoring enough goals. Now, this season, without looking it up, I think he has got 9 goals in 20 games, which is virtually a goal every other game. And he's got 5 assists. and he's got 4 man of the matches for us. So how can a player be so Jekyll and Hyde? There's got to be something in it. And he was trying, like you said, he was virtually walking around the pitch for most of that. Now, I don't know anywhere where it gives the details, so we don't have access to the full Opta stats, which would be nice to see, because I'm sure he doesn't just stroll around the pitch. We make it, or I feel like he just stood there.
If there was a heat map for that game, it would look like a fucking donkey. I love Mesut Ozil.
Yep, so do I.
And I appreciate the good that comes with Mesut Ozil, but when he's bad, he's bad.
How can a player like that have so many shit games when it's so important? For a player of his ability, who is allegedly wanting £300,000 a week, and you have back-to-back Opta ratings of 6.26 and 6, if that was any other player, the whole world would be screaming that he's nicking a living again. It's absolutely disgraceful. Is it his fault? Is it the manager's fault? Is it the formation? Is it because the away team stick 2 players on him? They don't let him play? I don't know what it is, because I don't know. I mean, these people know more about football than I ever will. But it's just driving me crazy, the fact that Lucas isn't getting games, and he brings him on for 2 minutes against Everton when half the team are on their arse. Ridiculous.
No, very true.
Makes me so angry.
John, we'll come to you next, and I want to talk a little bit about Alex Iwobi. We've seen in games against Everton and Man City that maybe the stage is a bit too high for him. Is that fair to say? I mean, I think he's been phenomenal at points where we've seen him this season, but I don't quite think that he's ready. Do you agree or disagree with that, John?
Yeah, I think there's certain games you've got to maybe shield him from. He's got a bit of stick this season compared to last. You know, it's his first proper year in the first team, because he only broke through sort of halfway through, and he's got a lot of stick for not covering his fullback and some of his decision making, and he's finishing as well a couple of times, which I think is a bit harsh, because he's a young kid and he's still learning, and he's got a lot to learn about the game. And when you're in a team that has I suppose unrealistic expectations, really, if you look on the history of the last 10 years of us, trying to win the league, and the way our fans think every year we should be winning it, sometimes it's a little bit too much for him. I don't know if, personally, I would have started Oxlade-Chamberlain for this game. I thought he was more sensible. He's got more experience. I don't have a problem bringing on someone like Iwobi, because he has got the pace and can impact a game. But maybe the Ox had some issue, some problem, and that's why he only came on for a brief period and then went off again injured. So maybe that's why he didn't start him. But like Danny said, is it too big a game to chuck Perez in for this one? He's shown a bit of fight. He's shown a bit of nastiness in the games he's played in. He looked like he was linking up well. He's very fluid up front. So maybe you've got to give it a go. And like Geoff said, this City team and the defence has been really shaky. And you look how old that team is. Like, their front three, they're all really young, Sterling, Sane and De Bruyne. But the rest of that team, most of them are over 30. That defence, if you've got 3 really quick, but, players who know what they're doing, and that's not saying bad things about Iwobi. If you've got someone like Perez, who is experienced, he's played European football, he's played in La Liga as well, they're going to know how to move the defence around. And I also think his awareness of when to press as well. You saw in the first half how high we were pressing up the pitch. So we were winning it back higher up there so we could cause problems. Ozil was having a better game because Coquelin or Xhaka would win it, they give it to him, and he's in a bit of space and can pick someone out straight away for us to hit them. And in the second half, we just completely dropped off and didn't do that. And Iwobi just looked knackered. And I really hate to say it, because Wenger obviously has his favourites and he always likes picking the same players over and over again. And I hope he doesn't do it with Iwobi, because he's got some really nasty things said to him, on social media and from the fans in the stadium. Sometimes you can hear it as well. You can hear him groaning when he misplaces a pass and stuff. But he's really young, so you got to give a player like that time. So I think maybe this game was a little bit too much for him. But the team itself as well, we didn't look fit for the game. Sort of 60, 70 minutes, we look knackered. And it's not like Man City have had less games than us. We were away Tuesday night and they were at home on Wednesday. So I don't understand it. Our team just didn't look as fit and didn't seem like we could run as long. And when you consider our average age to theirs, it don't make any sense.
No, I think with the Perez thing, it's a case of Arsene Wenger not being able to do right for doing wrong. Because if he starts Lucas Perez against Man City and we lose 2-0, everybody goes, "Why'd you do that for?" Do you know what I mean? I know you've got to take the chance, but at the same time, if he does take that chance and it fails, which it could do, where do you leave it with the fans? I think a lot of our fans, whatever he does, is never going to be right for them.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not digging a manager out for starting Iwobi. I would have started Oxlade-Chamberlain, but obviously I don't know how fit he was for the game and everything else. Because he didn't obviously last long on a pitch when he came on. So maybe that was why he didn't start it. But it's your job as the manager. You've got to take the risk. You've got to do what's necessary to win the game. Like Danny was saying about Ozil, first half he was okay. He didn't do a lot, but you're looking at Man City's midfield. None of them are really going to mark you. They've got Fernando, and that's it, who's not their best defensive midfielder. Fernandinho is, and he's been out, a couple of games suspended. So you'd think he'd find all the space because all of their midfield and their forwards are right up the pitch. They're not going to get back and defend. And it just didn't affect the game at all. And I think the interesting thing for me is Ozil this season, Danny's saying obviously he's got a lot more goals and he's getting less assists, which is great. I haven't got a problem with that. That was working when we got Santi Cazorla in the team because Cazorla's then pulling the strings from deeper. Cazorla goes out of the team, then either Ozil or the manager, one of them has got to make the decision that, hang on a minute, we're not as creative now. Maybe Mesut needs to go back and sit a little bit deeper and start pinging things around and making all the chances like he was in his first 2 seasons when Cazorla wasn't doing that role, because at the moment it's not working. And I mean, I know everyone says we're playing 4-2-3-1. We're not. We're playing 4-4-2. Ozil's basically playing as another striker up front with Sanchez. He don't really sit in the number 10 spot. I know they'll drop in and come back in to get the ball every now and again, but he's basically playing as another striker. And if you haven't got Santi in the midfield to pull the strings, Xhaka's a good passer of the ball and Coquelin not so good, but at some point you've got to go, oh, hang on a minute, this isn't really working. And Mesut in the bigger games he's not there, he's a bit quiet. We need to pull him back a little bit, get him on the ball more, and get him on the ball where he's got a bit more space and time to act. I don't know, there seems to be clear, obvious things happening to the team in these 2 games in particular, but in overall the whole season, and nothing's being done about it. And it's so frustrating to watch.
I think you're right, John. If I can cut in there, I think you're right. Me personally, I'm not really happy with Mesut playing so far forward. All right, he might be getting a few more goals, but I think it has taken something out of our play. I honestly do believe he's an assist man. He's a creator. He can thread the ball through the eye of a needle. He sees pictures in his head that other players can't see, and he's great. He's so accurate with the ball. I think that's being spoiled when he's more or less playing with his back to the back to the goal now instead of facing up. I think he's best when he can see everything in front of him, left and right, and he can pick them passes out. I don't like it when he's playing a little bit further forward. It's only 10 or 15 meters, but it makes a hell of a difference. Plus, he's trying to. It's different because he's got to try and drop in to find the ball rather than being alongside someone who'll just ping it out to him and then he can play. I'm really not enjoying it just the way he is at the minute. I mean, and his form, it's a funny. He's undroppable. I think he's undroppable because he is that type of player that he can turn a game, and he's got so much quality. But I've had, over my experience of Arsenal, we've had a lot of these players where they come in and they sometimes they flatter to deceive. He does it less than others. I mean, I'm talking about people like back in the 70s where Peter Marinello, Vladimir Petrovic, and even Charlie Nicholas, and more recently, Andrei Arshavin. I thought he was going to be a world beater. But some games he was unbelievable. And in other games, he was just non-existent, And it is a problem when we've got to try and get the balance right. I do think he's playing too far forward, and it's affecting our play.
And Geoff, we'll stick with you. While we're on the topic of Ozil, his performance against Man City, and he was labelled as lazy by the commentators, as the fans. I go as far as to say some of our fans were on Twitter tweeting that we should fucking sell him, which I think is utterly ridiculous. But just your thoughts on Mesut Ozil and why you think it didn't work for him against Man City.
I just think it's the tactics. The tactics messed him up. Because again, we're hoofing the ball and just trying to get the ball into the final third of the opposition. We're not playing through the midfield. That's him out of the game. He's not going to be up there with his elbows up, trying to win headers and stuff like that. Again, he was playing high, so there was more or less the midfield was too far away from those 2 types of forwards, i.e. Sanchez and Ozil. They was just too far away, and that is all to do with the defence playing too deep. You've got to squeeze them. You've got to squeeze them all up, squeeze them up to the halfway line. They didn't have that much pace. We had to be too scared about. We had a bit of pace at the back as well with Bellerin and Koscielny. They're quite quick, and Gabriel. He can run. So we shouldn't have. We was too scared. But I just think it was that particular type of game where he wasn't going to affect it, and we should have maybe brought him off earlier because he was really he was struggling in there, and he looked like he was getting annoyed by it all. He was getting annoyed by the tactics that we were playing. He's not used to playing with a long ball team, and that's what we was unfortunately doing at the time.
So you think it would be fair to say he's not lazy? He was just played out of that particular game.
Yeah, he was played out of the game exactly. I don't think he's lazy. I think if you look at his stats, I think he covers a lot of ground, But again, his role, I think this season has been a little bit different. He has got to be more in the final third to try and get a goal rather than to create a lot of stuff. But to be honest with you, he struggles. I don't like him. His finishing's not that good. He the way he shapes up, he could barely finish his dinner sometimes.
Thank you, Geoff. Right, we'll go over to Ellis, and I know you want to talk a little bit about the Ozil situation, don't you, Ellis?
Yeah, he's a funny old thing, Mesut Ozil. It's like it feels to me like he's my little bug-eyed brother, and like I can criticise him. Like when he's playing the game, I'll criticise him, I'll have a go at him. But if anyone else does, it just gets on my goat when people criticise Mesut, because he is this luxury player that we have, and the guys in the head, he can sort of disappear in games like other players have done in the past, but I think what he gives you is that little bit of magic at time when he can create a pass, he can create a bit of space for him. He's hit a bit of bad form, and Danny's brought out some stats that don't look great for him when he's played against the big teams. But if you go back to Everton, he had 2 golden opportunities to score a goal. If he scores those 2 goals, are we having this conversation now? I don't know if we are. We might still be, because yet Everton might not be considered a big game compared to the other ones, but we're just sort of bringing it up now because it's another disappointing result in the season. But I agree with Geoff slightly, like the way he's been pushed up now, pushed him close to Sanchez. It has been good, and since Santi's gone, it's lacked that. It's the same sort of thing last year. A key player sort of goes with Santi and Mustafi, and we sort of go to pot of it, and it is frustrating. It does annoy me a bit when you see people on Twitter, like the rhetoric in the media has changed from Arsenal need to keep Sanchez and Ozil if they're going to be classed as a big team, blah 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 blah, and now it's changed to, Mesut Ozil doesn't even deserve this contract. Whereas a week ago, you were saying that he does deserve this, and we need a player like that to be considered a good team. Like I said, he's a luxury player. He's going to have bad games, but I think as a supporter, you need to get behind the lads. And not everyone, most of the players in the game on against Man City didn't have a great game. I think it's unfair to dig out anyone in particular.
No, I think I'd agree with you. And our bipolar media running hot and cold on certain players, one week being worldies and the next player in the next week, like you said, not being worth the contract. It's a little bit mad. We'll stick with you, Ellis, on this one. And I want to talk to you about Ox. Of course, he came on and I think he got injured after 12 minutes. Did that disappoint you to see that? Because, of course, no one ever likes to see a player injured, but Ox is one of those players that it never seems like he really gets the chance. And just lately, from what I've seen, he's done all right.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. It's sort of reminiscent of that time against Sheffield. Was it Sheffield Wednesday when both him and Walcott came on and got injured after coming on as a sub? Which it does make me wonder about what are they doing their warm out properly? And with Ox, he's got that thing where he sort of hops onto the pitch. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. I'm not like I've got a sort of medicalish background, but I wouldn't know if that does anything. Just hopping on like that, if that can aggravate the muscle there, or if it's just he hasn't warmed up properly. But that is frustrating, and he is one of those players that, like you say, he gets a little run in the team and then he'll be out again, and it's a part of his career. It's the same sort of thing with Theo Walcott. Like people have moaned about him only scoring over 100 goals and 400 appearances or whatever it was, but you've got to think that a lot of that time he has been coming back from injury, and it is hard for players to then have a long layoff and get back into it. And you're completely correct. He's had quite a good impact this season. I don't know what the recent stats are, but I thought he was one of the top 4 scorers contributing to goals. You've got Mesut Ozil, Alexis Sanchez, Theo Walcott, and then I think he's 4th. So he has played a good contribution to this season, and losing him could be a bit of an issue, but he can't seem to nail down a spot in this team. Even this season, when he has been having good games and contributing, Iwobi's coming as well. They're both sort of fighting for that space, but neither of them can hold it down just enough. And him being a young English lad, I think English fans, particularly English Arsenal fans, want the English lads to come through and succeed. But at the moment, sort of that that British core that we're all sharing isn't really there. None of them really are, to be honest. And it is disappointing and frustrating because you want those guys to be sort of the linchpin. You want them to be the core of our team. You want them to be successful, and you want them to be successful for Arsenal, so Arsenal's successful.
Yeah, I think with the British core thing, a large part of it as well is down to every player, every fan wants to see that player in their own squad, and then when it comes to internationals, being able to cheer one of your own players as well as supporting your national team. I think that's where the whole British core came from.
It's
but Danny,
horrible watching sort of England. Sorry to interrupt, but it's just
no.
You see England and it's full of Spurs players and Liverpool players. It'd just be nice to have sort of some English players in there because it's so hard to support your national team when you've got people that you've been hating for the rest of the season playing for them. That's including people like Rooney as well.
Did you did any of you guys see this week a slight break just to take the piss out of Tottenham? They are reduced their Europa League tickets to £5, and they don't know if they're going to open the upper tier of Wembley Stadium. Thank you for making me smile, Tottenham Hotspur. I cannot smile without you. Danny, let's have your thoughts on Oxlade-Chamberlain. Are you pro Ox, or are you kind of on the fence with him?
Oh, I love the Ox. He's such an interesting player, and it's great to see a player like him develop. I think too many times in the past, young players have come through the team, like David Bentley, and I can't really think of any others, but there has been quite a few. The ones that we've gone, oh yes, come on, he's the next great hope. Who's going to be the young player that we're going to cheer on. I suppose Theo Walcott was one, Bentley was one. I'm sure people can shout at their listening.
was one.
Yeah, shout at their listening devices.
You forgot about Wilshere.
Wilshere's still bloody here. So is the Ox. I mean, so is Walcott. But I'm just also thinking back to remember that time that it was also all the British young players. There was Gibbs, who's better than what he was a couple of years ago, but still not good enough to be our full-time left back. The Ox and Walcott are both admittedly having their best ever seasons. Wilshere's gone out on loan. Ramsey has had a shit couple of seasons. Not mainly because of much down to him. I mean, some of it is down to him, but I had someone suggest to me on Twitter the other day that he can't wait till Ramsey gets back and he can play him on in the left wing instead of Iwobi. I said, what are you trying to do? Kill the player's career? I mean, where does everyone else think that Ramsey should play? I should think he would be next to Xhaka in central midfield, but other people seem to be, on the right wing, left wing, play him as the 10. Oh, I think stuff like that. He's going to end up being a Gilles Gamandi, a Remy Gard, a Perry Groves. He's just going to play where the manager wants him to play.
I think with Ramsey and living in Wales, they show the matches on the television instead of England, so you do have to watch it. And I think from Arsenal's point of view, they need to figure out why he plays so well for Wales and he doesn't for Arsenal. Because every time I watch him play for Wales, he's like a different player. But when I see him play for us, it's just. He overcomplicates things. He loses the ball. He struggles to pick a pass. It's just and Ramsey again is one of those confidence players. He picks a few bad passes and his head goes down. That's the afternoon over. It's terrible, really. Danny, sorry, carry on.
No, you're right. It does. It's I like Ramsey more. I said this when Jason was on last week or the other week. I said I like Ramsey more because he is Welsh. I think he gets more leeway because he is Welsh. You look at the amount of grief that Jack Wilshere gets because he's English. There's more expected from him being an Englishman at an English club, and there's more English supporters of Arsenal than I should think there is of any other nationality. So it's just annoying that people like the Ox are so inconsistent, but he's having his best season ever. I mean, already, without looking at it, I think he's got. I'm just going to bring it up while I'm thinking about it. I think he's got 6 goals so far this season, which is his record in all competitions that he's ever had before. Just going to look at Wikipedia and get my fat fingers to scroll down. So how many has he got this season? Yeah, he has got 6. His previous seasons 2, 3, 3, 2, 4. So he's got 6 in 20. And the best he's got before was 4 in 26 in his very first season for us. So I think people should give him a lot more leeway than he already gets. Plus, when he comes on, you don't know whether he's going to play left, whether he's going to play right. His old man has been in the media a couple of years ago and said that because his dad was a decent player, very decent player, that his best position is going to be through the middle. I don't know whether that is in central midfield or whether that's going to be in the number 10. Whichever one it is, he's not going to be playing there. I think his future, the future for the next few years is going to be out wide. Personally, I'd rather see him start every game on the left rather than Iwobi. But then we see, I always say that I love angry Giroud. When you bring Giroud off the bench, angry Giroud plays best, Giroud. I also think the Ox, when you bring him off the bench, that's when he's best. Partly that will be because he has so much pace and such a great. I mean, that goal against Monaco, I'll take that to the grave with me. Well, I'm not going to be cremated, so I'm going to take it up into the crematorium with me, because that's the kind of thing that the Ox can do. He's got that flair, and when he starts a game, he just gets marked the whole time, and then they know what he's doing. But when he comes on for the last half an hour, he's got so much pace and trickery that the players are already worn out. Especially if you've had someone like Iwobi, or if he comes on the right, you've had Walcott running them inside out, and then you think, oh my God, I've been running after these idiots for 60 minutes, and now they're bringing on the Ox. I'm just going to retire, like Gary Neville did partway through the season. So I have my fingers crossed with all of them, but I don't think they're the problem. I think our front four of it's going to be Sanchez up front, Ozil in the hole, and any one of 3 or 4 on the wings. I think they're not really the problem at the moment. The problem at the moment is the fact that Petr Cech has now got 8 Premier League games in a row without a clean sheet. I said this on the radio show, which is the worst he's ever gone in his entire career. I think we've now gone 12 games in a row without a clean sheet. And you think, well, our defence are knackered. Well, our defence aren't knackered, because at the beginning of the season, we had 7 clean sheets in 8 games. I hope I've got all that lot right, because I'm just trying to remember with my old grey frazzled brain. I think that's the stats. So where's the problem? And I think the problem comes down to central midfield. No Santi pulling the strings. So you have Coquelin getting forward. I think when you talking about this, John, that Coquelin's getting forward too much.
Yeah.
Go on, tell them what you're saying.
Well, I didn't understand it. The previous seasons, the best sort of centre mid pairing we had was Coquelin, Cazorla, and Coq would win the ball and he'd just give it straight back to Santi, and then Santi play through the lines, find Mesut. Mesut was sitting a little bit deeper, not so high up, and that's how we get our goals. And we were defensively much more solid. The back four was shielded. But I think this season, if you go look up our chief blogger, Geoff, the other Geoff, Mr. Hulenfruns, he's got a lovely website with all stats and stuff.
Smartetta.
Yeah, Smartetta. We're allowing more shots on goal than I think we're almost double some of our rivals who we are competing with for the title compared to shots allowed on our goal. I don't blame Cech for all of the goals we conceded. I agree with Ellis. I think the one at the near post, the second goal, Sterling's in the City game, I do think he could have done better there. But we're allowing the other team so many shots at goal that he hasn't got a chance. And when you've got a midfield that you've got Granit Xhaka, who people still are calling a DM. He's not a DM. He never was a DM. He wasn't a Gladbach. He never played that position. He's sitting in front of the defence. He can't move. He can't run that quick. That's not what his game's about. And you've got Coquelin, who's herring up the pitch and sometimes in the opposition's 18-yard box. If we lose the ball and turn over possession, then you've got Xhaka standing there. It's one pass and he's completely cut out. And when you're playing... Like, don't get me wrong, if you're playing Man City, they've got amazing footballers. I mean, you saw the ball that Kevin De Bruyne did, the no-look 70-yard cross-pitch, like diagonal to Sterling. Absolutely ridiculous pass that he pulls off. If you got players like that, you're going to get torn to pieces. And what's Koscielny and whether it's Mustafi or Gabriel going to do? You lost our best centre-back, who was great at distributing the ball out from the back. We've lost that now, which I think is why you've seen Cech kick the ball longer, because they don't trust Gabriel with the ball at his feet. Because you saw a couple of times in the City game, he gives it away. Yeah, right, against the sort of the lower down the league teams, he might be a bit more comfortable. It's just all a mess. And ever since Santi's gone out of the team, the whole rhythm and the balance of the team is completely gone. Now, the players should be good enough to deal with that. But that also comes down to the manager as well. He's got to then say, look, there's a clear problem here. I need to change this. Why is Coquelin consistently 60 yards up the pitch? He's not going to score a goal. He's not going to make you a goal up there. If you want the whole team to push up and pressure and win the ball high up the pitch, fine. That's great. But if he's the only one doing it from midfield and Xhaka's standing there and then the defence is another 20 yards behind him, they've got so much space to work in. And, Mesut Ozil's not going to track back. We don't play 3 in midfield. We play 2 in midfield. Most teams now play 3 in midfield and have done for a long time, like we used to do. He's going to get swamped in there. He's just going to get the ball passed around him. They're straight in our defence, and it's a mess. Monreal's been picked on all season because he's had Iwobi, who, again, I'm not digging him out for it because he's a young kid, but he's getting isolated because Iwobi's high at the pitch and he's not doing all his defensive duties. There's just clear, obvious weaknesses that have been going on all season long. And they're not being corrected. And it's so frustrating to watch because when you think this, last year was our best chance to win the league realistically. This year, right, we've got a chance. We had a shoe-in. I don't know whether it's still there or not. We're 9 points behind. But if we don't win it this year, next season's going to be even harder because Guardiola is going to have been at City a whole season. He's going to have a January and a summer transfer window to sort out all his problems because you know he's going to sort that defence out eventually. You know, you look at what Conte's doing at Chelsea. All right, they haven't got Champions League this year, but they get it again next year. They can invest. They've got more money to spend. Mourinho's going to sort out Man United. Then the league gets even harder yet again. And it is just these clear problems, same issue, game in, game out, whether we win or lose. And they're not being addressed at any point. It's so annoying to watch because we've played some wicked football this season, absolutely beautiful stuff, and I've loved every minute of it. When we've been flowing forward and they've all been interchanging positions, and like Mesut in the game against Ludogorets where he lobs the keeper and takes it round 3 players. It's all lovely stuff to watch, but you got to do it in the big games, and we're not performing in those key away games.
I think if I can come in, I think what Arsenal's got to do is just like you say, you'll get away against the smaller teams, but every single team that have played us this year has attacked our left-hand side, i.e. with Monreal, and John, you alluded to it, and you was 100% right. It's not Iwobi is still learning. I love him. I think he's going to be a player, but he's learning on the job at the minute. He's positionally and his concentration is not 100%. He's really got to work on that. But Monreal has had a shocker this season, and it's not really his fault. He hasn't had no protection at all, and that's mainly because Sanchez has now switched to centre forward. He used to be on that left-hand side. Well, a right back was so terrified of the opposition that they wouldn't get over the halfway line because they'd be worried about Sanchez. So Monreal last season, the season before, he was already protected because although the forward would bomb on the right back would bomb on sometimes, most of the time he would be very, very cautious because they would be worried about Alexis Sanchez. In my opinion, in those big games, I would bring in someone like Gibbo. Because Gibbo he was a natural left winger, but he's played at left back for the best part of his career now, obviously, but he'll give us that balance. I think he'll give us that balance against the good sides that he'll know how to defend because every single time we play a decent side, we do get exploited and we will concede goals on that left hand side there.
Well, it's like when we had, you think back when we had Ramsey on the right-hand side. I was never a fan of him playing there because I do think he's best position centre mid. But what he did was you had Sanchez one side covering the left back, Ramsey would tuck in, make the midfield a bit harder to get through, and he had such an engine that he could cover centre mid in front of the defence and the right back. And Coquelin wasn't as high up the pitch; he was sitting back deeper. So if Nacho or someone had pushed on, he could shuffle across to one side or to Bellerin's side and cover that position whilst they were getting back and recovering. He's so high up the pitch now, because that distance between Ozil and the 2 centre mids is just got even bigger, that it's just not working anymore. And like you saw in the City game, Sane and De Bruyne, they were saying to Nacho and Bellerin, "Yeah, you run up the pitch, you attack our fullbacks, we're just going to stay here. We're not tracking you back. We're going to exploit the space. Because if you're gone, we know the bloke in front of you ain't going to come back and cover either, and we can hit you straight away down either side." And that's and if you're Koscielny and Gabriel, then you're like, well, do I come across? Am I supposed to come across here? Who's covering? Is Xhaka going to be back in time to fill in my spot and drop in there? It's just not going to work.
And it was blatantly obvious against City because when obviously they come out the second half and Sterling switched over onto the right-hand side rather than being up front, Sane on the left-hand side, and then they brought Navas on the right-hand side. It was so blatantly obvious that was what they was doing. They were trying to affect the game from that right-hand side. Yeah. I was disappointed that he couldn't see that and he didn't put Gibbo on to give us that protection, And Gibbo, it's not as if he can't get about the pitch. He's he's terrific on the ball. He's got a great engine. He can get up and down. He's got plenty of pace about him, but he's got that defensive mentality. You go to top teams like Man City and United and places like that, you mustn't concede goals. Arsenal will always have a chance to nick a goal. Right, and sometimes, all right, you can relinquish the play. Let them come and you have a go at us. Have a go, bang, 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 and you go up the other end of the pitch. But you mustn't concede stupid goals, and we conceded 2 stupid goals against. Ridiculous.
I can't believe that we were 1-0 up against them. That was the most shocking part. I thought, wow, am I dreaming this? Because I'm the only one out of all 19 and 3 halves that were on trial contracts that predicted a Man City win. Everyone of you either predicted a draw or a win for Arsenal, like most of you always do. I mean, I only got a point out of it, but I just couldn't see us going up, especially after Everton, because we're bottlers. When it comes down to it so many times, I don't know what happens. I mean, we went in at half time. You know, when I think it might have been against PSG, they ran us ragged for the first half. We went in at half time and we come out a different team. And we did exactly the same thing against City, but the different team that come out was just down. I don't know. How can this keep happening? How can it be?
But you look at our first half performance, all we had to do was carry it on for the second half. We came out, got caught with a stupid goal. And yeah, like I think everyone pretty much agrees that Sane was offside. But you know, still a very stupid goal to concede. I think it was from a goal kick as well, wasn't it? But City, you know, Guardiola had seen the problem, said, right, we're going to change it, put our two quickest players on the wing, take Zabaleta off. We'll bring in, he brought on Sanya, not to be defensively solid at the back, but because he knew he could get more width out of him, because Sane and De Bruyne are going to cut inside, and he can get down the side where Nacho is and get exploited. As soon as the second half kicked off, any time Iwobi got the ball, he was only on for like 15 minutes in the second half, wasn't he? He got absolutely swarmed with players because he gets knackered in the second half very early. And he went in straight away like, okay, you can exploit this bit, this one, bang, go for it. And like Geoff said, it's disappointing that Arsene didn't go, right, we've got a problem here. Why can't we change this up a little bit? You know, if you have to go sacrifice a Mesut Ozil or something like that and defend for a bit, make City, you know, let them take all the pressure you want. Keep coming at us and get to the point where they're just humping it long. And then we can just knock a ball over the top. Sanchez is going to be on that all day long. He's going to beat Otamendi and Kolarov at the back. He'll get a goal for you. Sometimes you've got to sacrifice a bit of your playing style to get a result. And it just annoyed me that Guardiola could see the problem in his team and went out and he effected change. And all right, our options on the bench were a little bit limited. You know, like if we had Ramsey for this game, it would have helped. But Arsene didn't do anything. He didn't react quick enough. He waited until it was too late and we're 2 goals down, and then he went for it. And by that point, it's too late in the game.
This is why I think Gimli spoke about it earlier on. This is why I think he doesn't really like having that plan B or plan C. I think he's got the confidence in the players that we can do the job over the course of the time, most of the time, with just our plan A of attacking offensive football, passing it about and trying to find those spaces in behind. Because when he does change, like he did against City, and it goes horribly wrong, we look fucking woeful. And we look like a totally disjointed team. And, you know, and that's why I was so disappointed. Well, I mean, we're playing against a City team that they have struggled at the back. They do concede goals. You're an Arsenal, a team that have, you know, had got plenty of goals in them. Why don't we just go out and play a normal, natural game? Because I think that's what you do on the training pitch all the time. Let's go and do it. And this is why people, all right, he does get criticised. He don't change his tactics too often, right? But when he does and it fucks up, he's the man that's going to get the stick for it all the time, isn't it?
Yeah. And can I make another 2 quick points?
You can, but I'm going to be moving on to still a little bit to talk about. But
okay, I just want to say that I agree with John's point. De Bruyne is Man City's best player when Aguero isn't there. They took him off after 84 minutes and brought on a striker. Do you think Arsene Wenger would ever do that? 2-1 up at home against a tough game, and you take off your best, most creative player and bring on a striker? That would never, ever happen with Arsene. And also, must say, that Theo's goal, from the moment that Cech got it to the moment that Theo scored it, was about 12 seconds. I thought it was a fantastic bit of play from Arsenal. And, Cech's had a little bit of grief from lots of people, and we've got some questions coming up about that, but I think a lot of praise should go to the fact that we came out early and got that fantastic goal. So it's not all doom and gloom, but there again, we're not here to high five each other and slap each other on the arse. We like to have a good old moan and pick apart why it went wrong.
Yes, that is right indeed, why we do this podcast. And then with that in mind, the image of the day, if you guys took to Twitter after the game, would easily be Alexis crouched down by the centre circle. Now, boys, I don't know what you got from that, but it looked like he was just totally out of patience. Ellis, what do you think was running through his mind?
I don't know. Like, obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on in the media and all over Twitter about contract talks and what's going to happen with him and Ozil. And I think it is worrying, and it's one of those pictures that, you know, the people who are very clearly us Wenger out, you know, they're the sort of guys that are going to pop it all over Twitter and come up with him thinking about leaving and blah, blah, blah and all this. And it is, I admit it is worrying. Like, he must turn around, and the sort of fight and energy he puts in every game is ridiculous. The fact that he went to Chile, got injured, missed a game, then played the other game strapped up, came back and played United, his thigh on leg all strapped up, and then he's still here. He hasn't really had a rest. It's just, he's not even human. He can't be human the way he plays with that energy and everything like that. He's going to be a big loss if we do lose him. And I think I'd be more fearful of losing him than I would of Ozil. And I think he's more important at the moment to us than Ozil is, but opinions might differ. But I don't know. I am just slightly worried. I think you look how old he is. He's going to start. I feel a player like Alexis Sanchez isn't just motivated by money. I think he's motivated more by success and winning trophies. And if he starts to look around at Arsenal and thinks, I'm not going to get a trophy here, I'm not going to get success here, then he might well consider leaving. What we want to be, this team needs to convince him that he can win trophies here, he can win the Premier League, he can do well in the Champions League. And that's what we need to convince him. I think that's, at the end of the day, that's what will make him sign on the dotted line, not chucking 400,000 a week that a China club could chuck it in, because he's not going to go to a club in China where they eat dogs when he loves Adam and Humber so much.
No, that is very true.
His last
Geoff,
6 games, 6 goals, 4 assists, 2 man of the matches, and he hasn't got below. The lowest rating he's got is 7.44, and his highest is a 10. So they're another player with a 10. Amazing.
Geoff, you're privy to a little bit more information than say others are on this podcast. Could you enlighten us with anything that's going on? I mean, we've read so much in the media. We've seen him come out on an interview and say that, you know, he loves Arsenal, he loves London, whereas other newspapers are saying that he finds living in London stressful. Some are saying that he wants 400 grand. Others are saying that he wants to leave. You know, can you shed a little bit of light on the situation?
I just think it's a little bit of pandering. I think he's obviously trying to get the best deal possible, which is only natural. It's his last really big contract. He definitely loves Arsenal. He loves being at the club. We're a massive club, Arsenal Football Club. Don't worry about that. Don't take the notice of all them people on Twitter. That I had a guy earlier on. I saw a tweet. He says, we're not as good as Everton and shit like that. I mean, please, come on. But it's just pandering to try and get the best deal. But the only problem is, he will get offered more money at other clubs. Definitely, there will be maybe 1 or 2 clubs that are coming for him and will be able to afford to give him more money than Arsenal. I don't think that I don't think that Arsenal want to spend more than 200 grand a week on a footballer at the moment, and I think that might be the sticking point. But ultimately, the club think that they're gonna get it over the line. And to be honest with you, I think they will as well too. We just got to wait for another little bit.
And in your personal opinion, Geoff, if Alexis Sanchez came to Arsenal and said, I want 300 grand a week, could we afford it and would we pay it?
I don't think they'll pay it. No chance. I think the limit's 200 grand for Arsenal at the moment.
Okay. So with that in mind, then I think we all need to maybe be a little bit worried. Is there anybody else that wants to touch on the Alexis Sanchez contract situation? John, is there any input that you want to put into it?
I understand what Jeff's saying about other clubs being able to offer him more money, but to be honest, the list of those clubs is pretty short. It's basically Barcelona, who I don't think are ever going to take him back, Real Madrid, who I don't think are interested. They've got other targets in mind, like Aubameyang from Dortmund. Looks like that's going to go through probably. And then you've got PSG, and the only other way he's going to get more money is if he goes to a club in the Premier League or he goes to China. No one in Italy can offer him that money. The only club who could realistically offer him what he wants, which I suspect, like Ellis said, his trophies, is Juventus. He won't get more money there. Bayern Munich don't pay the same wage as we do. They pay less. I think people would laugh if they found out that, Theo Walcott earns more money than Lewandowski.
Wow. That's a shocking stat.
It might be a little bit different now because of exchange rates and whatever, but yeah, they're not on as much money as you think. All these clubs around, Premier League do pay obscene amounts of money, so he'd have to go to another Premier League club, which I don't think we don't have to do that anymore. Gladly, we're not in a Van Persie situation, so I'm more hopeful that he'll stay. I do think it does come down more to trophies than money, though. I think he's happy there. He looks very happy there and everything else. I mean, I obviously don't know as much as Geoff, but I think it's more about convincing him that we can actually go on to not just win the Premier League, but the Champions League as well is the big thing.
And does any of the panel think that the performances against Everton and Man City maybe need to, how to put it, that maybe show just maybe we're not as strong as we all thought we were? I mean, there is a January transfer window approaching, and no doubt Arsenal have money to spend in that window. So I'd like all of your thoughts on this. Danny, you're Arsene Wenger, you're going into this transfer window. How do you play it?
We all know that he's going to do little less than fuck all. It's known that Draxler is going to be leaving Wolfsburg. It looks like the fee and the wages have been agreed with PSG. That means he's for sale. He's a ready-made player, attacking left-sided player. He's absolutely brilliant. If he's for sale, that means we can go and get him and just play whatever we want. Did I say Draxler? I did, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, he's 22 years old. He's shirt number 10 at the moment. Although he's right-footed, he can play mainly in his best position. He's got like the Ozil position, but he also plays left wing and right wing, which would be yet another player that can play in any position, confuse Wenger, and they'll end up playing him at bloody centre back or something. But he's still only £23 million. 23. He's still only 23 years old, and he only joined Wolfsburg in the summer in August 2015 for, it says here, 30 million euros.
He came out in the summer and said that he wanted to leave as well, but they didn't let him. There was a big hoo-ha over it, and it looked like he would move, but eventually he didn't. And
John was telling me that they'd got an absolute fortune for him last summer, and they're going to get fuck all now, John. Or they're going to get lucky to get what they paid.
Yeah, the sporting director who's now left, oh God, I can't remember his name, something Ellis, the Wolfsburg guy. He's now, well, left or been sacked, whatever you want to just call it. About a week before he left the club, he basically came out and said, we should have sold Draxler in the summer. We could have got a load more money. He's probably going to go in January now for a lot less. The one reason I wouldn't actually buy him, I do like him, he's a decent player, but he's too much of what we've already got. And also, he's a whiny little bitch. He whinged his way out of Schalke, went to Wolfsburg when he probably didn't really want to go there, and he's just complained the whole time he's been there as well, going, "Oh, it's not good enough. You know, I'm better than this. I should be at a bigger club." And I'm not sure I really want that kind of attitude. Don't get me wrong, he's very good. He's a very good player, but if he has a tantrum, he goes completely missing. If people are going to moan about Mesut Ozil go missing in games, then Draxler does exactly the same thing.
He's another Cesc Fabregas then.
Yeah, he is. He's got a little bit of that about him. Don't get me wrong. Same thing with Cesc. Absolutely quality player, but yeah, I'm not so sure about the attitude on him. See, I think the PSG deal, by the sounds of it, is pretty much done.
So I'm going to chuck a couple of names out there.
Make sure Podolski's one of them. I'd have him back in a second.
No.
Just for the giggles. I love Podolski.
The two names that I'm going to chuck out there is to replace Santi Cazorla, because, as Danny said, quietest feet in football. I would go for Isco at Real Madrid. And also, I think we lack down the left-hand side. So personally, if I had the riches that Arsene Wenger has, I would definitely go for Marco Reus and Isco. Not. I know they're not going to be January moves, but in the summer,
they're going to be never moves.
Do you think so? I mean,
people are going to say, if you get a ready-made left-sided attacker, then that's going to kill the career of Iwobi, because he'll hardly get any games. And then what about the Ox? And the Ox is going to, because you ain't going to get someone like Draxler come to the club unless he's going to say, well, I want first-team football all the time. I'd have thought.
That's very true that you say that, Danny. But at the end of the day, we all want Arsenal Football Club to win trophies and be successful. Now, I know you say you kill the career of a youngster, but if you buy something in that completes your team, how can you see that as a bad thing?
Well, he's been ill these years and he keeps doing it, doesn't he? He keeps not doing stuff that is blatantly bloody obvious. It's the first time since Lehmann we've had a decent goalkeeper. It shouldn't take 10 years to get a decent goalkeeper, should it?
See, I'd go as far as
it's not going to change now.
The defence is pretty good the way it is. I mean, Mustafi has been incredible. Petr Cech is always incredible.
On our day, our entire best 11 are magnificent.
But if you replaced Cazorla, because Cazorla, Do you agree that he would be in most of our starting 11s, if not all of them?
Has to be, yeah.
But if you took Cazorla out of that team and replaced it with Isco, you took Iwobi out of that team, you replaced him with Royce, I think you have a team there that could win leagues.
I've not seen Isco play as much, or hardly any. I mean, I can't remember ever seeing him play.
I think for that, and compared to like Chris and John, who just watch football stupidly just because of the fact that it's on, but from the football that I can see, like, didn't Chris once say that he watched like 39 games in a week?
Yeah,
I'm surprised that he's got a missus. If I watched 39 games a week, I'd be in the fucking bus shelter because Kate wouldn't have it. We both love football, but that's just ridiculous. Love you, Pirate. Anyway.
He says hello, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
He sent me a WhatsApp message when we were sorting out because Steve has got the lurgy. He's got the Polish lurgy, so we're trying to get someone on.
I believe we called it the plurgy.
Did we?
Yeah.
Bless him. Pray for Steve, everybody.
Hashtag pray for Steve.
He's getting on a bit, poor old boy.
But no, from what I've seen of football, I think if you're looking at replacements for Santi Cazorla, because he is a big miss. You can't just go not like a Mikel Arteta, who gradually got worse over years to the point that we were all wanting him to leave.
He looked right for Man City the other night.
but you know, he didn't celebrate. Fair play to him. He did not celebrate the City goals. But anyway, I'm waffling. If I had to have a ready-made replacement for Santi Cazorla at the moment, I think Isco you wouldn't find a better replacement than Isco. But right. So back to Ellis. Do you agree or disagree with what I said?
I'm a big fan of Isco as well. I'm not sure he's the same same type of footballer as Santi Cazorla. I don't think there's many people out there at the moment that we could realistically get who's in a similar sort of bracket as Santi Cazorla, but someone like Isco would surely improve the squad easily, I would have thought. As for Royce, personally, I've seen a bit more of him than I have Isco, but he gets injured quite a lot, doesn't he? So I doubt he'd really ruin Iwobi's
He has got
career,
dodgy ankles, and he'd
probably be injured, and Iwobi would still get chances the same as us. So he's a fantastic footballer on his day, Royce is, but it's just like I said, unfortunately, he's a bit injury prone. If I was going to pick someone for maybe the left-hand side or in that sort of type of player, I'd probably go for Mahrez just because we know he can do it in the Premier League. He's not had a fantastic season at the moment with Leicester, but none of them really have, to be honest. They're struggling in the league, but they've done well in the Champions League. But I wouldn't mind Mahrez at Arsenal. But I don't really watch enough football outside of Arsenal to know who would be a good replacement. I only really know the big names. I'm not a hipster like some of the other guys on here that watch a lot of football and know the players inside out. It's just not my thing, really.
No, speaking of hipsters, John, you watch a fuck ton of football. So enlighten us with, do you agree with what I say, or am I being a prick?
The one league I don't watch a lot of is La Liga because it bores the arse off me. But yeah, Isco's a decent player. I think the thing is, I don't see us buying anyone in January in the first place. You look at midfield, we're already stacked in there. Ramsey's out injured at the moment. He's an option. You've got Jack Wilshere, who's on loan, who's coming back. Yes, I do think there's got to be a discussion about who is the long-term replacement for Santi because he is getting on a bit in years. And I suspect there's a chance maybe he goes back to Spain in the summer to finish up his career. As for the wide positions, you've got Walcott, Iwobi, Ox, Perez, who, we forgot we've only just bought. So I'm not sure you're going to get anyone. I do agree with Ellis. I do like Mahrez. I think he's a brilliant player. He hasn't had as good a season, but Leicester have an all round, so you can't put it all down to him. And I think we were fairly close, or we were in talks at least to get him. I don't know, Geoff will probably know more, but that was rumoured to be sort of on the cards for a bit. He's got Premier League experience. He's playing in Europe this year. He's done very well in the Champions League. Whether we get anyone in January, I'd be very, very surprised. The only midfielder I can think of who I'd absolutely love would be Thiago Alcantara from Bayern Munich. Whether you get him, probably not. A cheaper option who you could definitely get would be Brozovic from Inter Milan. He's a very good midfielder, and you could just rip another player out of that other club.
Alice has just said he's just come in the chat box and said Verratti.
Yeah, I'd love Verratti, but you're not getting him. No way. It's PSG or he goes back to Italy. Actually, the only club I could see him go to in the Premier League, sadly, is Man City. Well, they've got the money to pay him, and he loves Pep and the style of football, and he fits perfectly in that midfield.
Ellis just typed the word that I made for anyone listening to this that wants to know what goes on in the chat box.
I honestly, I don't think we necessarily need that many players. Santi's obviously is the big loss, but I don't see us getting anyone in January. And I think it's just we need to change our style and maybe revert back to a little bit of what we were doing last season when you didn't have Ozil so high up the pitch, and we'll be a bit more successful. It's disappointing, the 2 games, 2 away games, leading in both, then going on to lose both. There's no shame to losing to Man City. It was more the performance than the result than anything else. The Everton one, all right, you can say there is a bit of shame in that because they've been shite this season, but that was a proper old school, like early days of the Premier League rough and tumble match, wasn't it? When we got a bit bullied in that, which is a bit disappointing. So I'm not too concerned. We just need to turn it round straight away in that West Brom game.
John, if people have liked the cut of your jib when it comes to talking European football, don't suppose they can hear you anywhere else, can they?
Plug!
Yeah, they can hear us on the Football Hipsters podcast that myself and the Pirate does, and you are occasionally on, Danny. We do 2 shows a week. We do a Sunday night show which covers everything with the Premier League and the Championship, and then Mondays we do all the other top leagues in Europe, so France, Spain, Italy, and Germany.
That'll keep the Pirate happy.
Ellis has just written and Babe Station.
Oh yeah, Danny does that as well. Yeah.
Got to make ends meet, haven't you?
I thought that was
my end
that
does
chat
meet.
bait you were into.
The chat bait game has been very poor of late.
Oh, God.
Too many bored housewives.
It's great, Danny. You're halfway through recording a podcast, and then Danny starts sending you messages going, this porn star's on Twitter. Look, the one who was on Chatterbait, and starts tweeting you and tagging you in tweets. And she's sending you messages while she's trying to record things.
I have signed into that website once, and even though I swear and whatnot, it was far too graphic to even. I couldn't even explain. All I say is the girl had an ice cream and it had mostly melted.
Well, I sent John a lovely picture of a woman who was a human banana holder.
I'm out on a date. Check my phone. Pull my phone out, and he's sent me a video of what he's watching on Chatterbait. Cheers, Danny.
And the
woman just
who
passed the hour mark. He's gone to shit, people.
And she was a human banana holder. She could hold 2 without using her hands.
Oh my God, Geoff. Say us, who do you think we need in January, and what position do you identify that we are that we're weak?
Honestly, I think we're all right in midfield. I think Santi will come back. I still think we've got 18 months out of Santi Cazorla. I think he's a brilliant player, mate. If we can keep him fit, he's going to be first choice. I believe that he is going to be looking for a left back. I think we do need maybe a little bit of coverage on that side, like we've already spoken about. I also hear that Liverpool are very interested in Kieran Gibbs. Now, Gibbo's contract's up. I think it's maybe 18 months or something like that. Danny could maybe have a quick route around and find out maybe as we're talking. But I think they've made him a considerable offer. They're looking for a left back, aren't they, Liverpool? And I don't know. I don't know whether the thoughts are that he fancies it or not. But I do honestly believe that Arsenal will be looking for a left back in the window. Whether they get him or not is another thing, isn't it?
Well, as Ellis has just put in the chat
contract until the 30th of June 2018. Us on transfer market. Don't sue us.
And Ellis has said that and I have seen this particular article myself, that we have been linked with Gaya, the Valencia left back.
Ah, there you go.
Who, from what I've seen of him, seems to be a very tidy player.
Surprise, surprise.
And he's not half bad on FIFA, Geoff. Just to confirm.
I love it.
Right, that pretty much. Oh, actually, no, there is one little bit, and I'll go around to all of you, and it's the last final question of the Man City bit. Right, judging on what you've seen of Arsenal this season, if you had 50 million in January to go out and spend on anybody, if you were Arsene Wenger, who would it be? Danny, let's start with you.
Oh dear, for the first time in years, I'm going to say nobody. I think we've got everything we need in that squad. I'd probably go and take everybody out on a holiday, and then have. I was going to say something mean there. No, I don't think we need anybody. We've got cover in every position. Maybe a little bit of left back, but there's got to be some reason why Monreal is having a bad season when he should be at the peak of his career, or. But he can't. I don't know. There's something going on. Maybe we need Yuri Geller to come in there and give him, or Darren Brown to come in there and do a little bit of magic. I don't think we need anybody.
Right, Geoff?
I'd give 60 million for Lewandowski and stick Sanchez out on the left-hand side. Job done. We'll win everything.
Our only problem is Lewandowski would never come. As sad as that is. Hasn't he just signed a new contract with Bayern?
I don't know about that, mate. I'm telling you. Don't worry about that. Arsenal Football Club, different league. You might fancy it. London.
What would you do then? Would you stick Alexis back on the left?
Correct. Yeah.
Fantastic. Ellis?
I probably buy Boué, so that's like 1 million done. Then 49 million probably get enough for a machine to clone, and I clone in about 11 times. Then we'd win the league.
Could you imagine a team of 11 Boués?
Lewandowski signed a new contract, and this is the 13th of December until 2021.
Yeah, I thought he had done. I did see it somewhere. John?
I'd go. It's not enough money, sadly. But I'd go and say Torino, or I will give you 50 million for Belotti, and you sign what will be the best striker of Europe for the next 10 years.
Fair enough.
I think sadly, Kim. Now I'm thinking about it, I'd get a new manager, because this is our best group of players in such a long time. I'd pay him off and get rid of him. I mean, I love Wenger, but it's just, how can we have our best squad in a decade and still be doing the same shit in the pants when it comes to the big times, when they don't do it internationally? Özil international for Germany is magnificent. All the rest of our players, I mean, even Jack is playing brilliantly when he plays for England. He was man of the match for 2 or 3 games last season, wasn't he? I think it's got to be down to the manager, and get rid of Joey Payton as well. That's just for Steve to make him feel better.
Yeah, Joey Payton.
Although, actually, 50 million, you could probably get Mahrez and maybe Ricardo Rodriguez.
Who are you going to bring in, Danny?
Chris.
He's going to say
Simeone.
Simeone.
Have a go yourself, or something. What? You ain't one of them FIFA mobs, are you?
Klopp. At least Klopp's interesting. You know, like I always say, Geoff, I don't know.
Liverpool?
I just create the problems. I don't solve the answers. I don't think there's anybody out there really is. I mean, Ancelotti was the next best thing, wasn't he? He was fantastic. He's gone to Bayern Munich, and they're having a terrible season by their own standards, not by most standards. I think I'd really like to see Klopp here. There's got to be someone who can motivate the players, something other than just singing them French nursery rhymes until they fall asleep.
I just can't believe the Arsenal fans, every single time we drop points, the total outrage, and it's just, I mean, Twitter's mental. It's just unbelievable.
If we have always been known as perennial bottlers, whether it's the FA Cup final against Hull, whether it's last season's semi-final against Watford, whether it's the Champions League final, whether it's League Cup final against Birmingham, if the problem is happening over and over again, and it's a whole load of different players, and it's the same manager, then what else can you do? We've tried everything. We've exchanged every single player in every single position many times over. And as much as I think, who else are we going to get? The problem's got to be with Wenger.
Danny, you're wrong. There's one other constant other than Wenger. You know what that is?
The owner?
No, it's Walcott. Walcott is the other constant. Seriously, he's the only other one who's been in the team that long.
I'm not buying all that though, Dan. I've got to be honest with you. All football teams, every single football team, they get beat. They get beat every now and again, and they'll get beat by a shit team, and they'll get beat by a top team. There's not a lot you can do about it. It's football, mate. It's not science. It's not concrete. You're relying upon 11 players doing their job that they're supposed to be doing, and keeping their concentration for. I mean, that's how we beat teams. Exactly the same reason why we get beat sometimes is because other teams, they lose their concentration, or we force a mistake or something like that. It's really about the 11 players on the pitch at that particular time.
Wasn't there a stat going round against Arsenal against the top 6, and we had only won one game in the last God knows how many? Arsenal
you know what I would like to see? I would like to see the rest of them against all the top 6 as well, because I think we're all beating each other. That's what I think.
We don't have. The only one we beat recently is Liverpool. I mean, Chelsea 3-0.
Yeah, but they're away games. You know what I'm saying to you? You look at the other teams against stuff at our gaff, and everybody else against everybody else. I mean, it doesn't look good, that stat. It's terrible. It looks woeful. I understand that. But
they're the games we need to win. They're the ones that we constantly don't win.
Yeah, but we finished again. You look at that stat, and you think, well, how the fuck have we finished second in the league last year?
I think that was more the capitulation of other teams. Man United doing what I'm saying we should do is constantly changing their manager. I think we can't. Wenger can't win for doing right or wrong. So I don't know, do I? But if the same thing keeps happening over and over again, you keep changing everything until it works, and we've changed everything, unless the answer is move back to Highbury.
But why the absolute meltdown on Twitter every single time? You've got grown men.
They're attention-seeking fucks, most of them.
Got
We all know
grown
who they
men. I'm
are.
sure they've got drafted tweets ready to fire out as soon as we drop a few points. You know what I'm saying to you? Teams do get beat at Everton. They've got a decent home record, all right? They haven't won many games, but they've got a decent home record. I think that was I think the other game, Man United, was the first time they got beat all season at home, apart from Stoke or someone in Southampton in the League Cup. But Man City away, they're tough games. You are going to get beat there. We're not the only team that's going to get beat at Man City this season. And the outrage on Twitter by grown men crying and screaming and bawling about Wenger, who doesn't even cross the white line. All right, every single manager makes mistakes. I understand that. Every single manager. You look at Pep Guardiola, up until last week, their record was woeful in the last 6 or 8 games.
Oh, there's no shame, but I think John said no shame in losing away to Man City.
No, of course not. It's just a way we lost. That's what the. But listen, there's other things in the world that's going on at the minute, right? That we should more concentrate on.
Oh, that's for sure.
Fucking
Definitely.
Arsenal losing a game of football. We are going to lose football games, guys.
Although this is an Arsenal podcast, so I mean, there's not really anything else we could talk about. We can't rock up next week and talk about fucking Brexit.
What's Brexit?
We can do. I'll have a go.
Is that a type of breakfast cereal?
We could have another umbrella.
We could get Steve Jakes to come on and talk about Brexit.
Don't start. Jesus.
The end is nigh.
Bergkamp Wonderland does politics. Call that won't end well.
Follow that by a bit of
Definitely
religion.
well. Right. Danny, we've got
Yes.
about 20 minutes of the podcast left
Yes.
for our hour and a half. So if you'd like to hit us with the best of what's come from Twitter and social media for the week.
It is actually. We've had a fantastic one. This bloke's getting my gentleman's nod. He sent me an amazing email. But you can send us via email. And someone said, "Is it okay to send you a DM?" I said, "Yes." So he sends us one every year. Nicky Wilson, who we all know, he says, "Why do Arsenal struggle to adapt when other teams change their formations or tactics mid-game?" Ellis, have you got any idea on that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. You mentioned the point about Wenger, and he's the only sort of constant other than John said Walcott. But maybe it's something that this Arsenal team struggles at, and it's something that he hasn't really ingrained into this team. We always go on about leaders on the pitch, and we've had a lack of them in recent years. I think recently we've picked up people like Mustafi, who seems to be a bit more of a shouter and a bit more organised. But some of the guys are a bit quiet, and we just have that sort of. It is one of our weaknesses when things go wrong. You can see it in games. If a player gets injured and sent off, we normally capitulate, or we go a goal behind, or even in Man City we were a goal ahead, and then we sort of let it go, gave them initiative, and it changed. And like what the question said, Pep Guardiola made a tactical change, and we couldn't adapt to it. I'm not sure what causes that, whether it's a sort of thing that's not ingrained into the team, or if it's a fact that we don't really have many leaders or people on the pitch that will take control and sort the situation out. I'm not sure, really. It's a hard one to answer.
I can chuck something out there. Do you think that we lack, or we have too many confidence players? That,
Possibly.
We go down, a goal down, the head goes down, and that's it. Like I said, there are many players like that. Xhaka, when his head goes down, that's game over.
Yeah, but the last 2 games we were winning, and then our heads went down. Should we shoot less? That's what it is. Stop winning.
Yeah.
In fact,
Stop scoring the first goal. Go 2 goals down and then start to play.
I remember the days when Arsenal were at their most dangerous, when we were 1-0 down or we were down to 10 men, and people would go, "Oh no, we'd be up for it." Anyway, we've got to move this on. This one for you, Geoff, from Mark Blondale. He says, "What would it, in your eyes, take to motivate this team for every match? Seems our hopes always vanish with that as an excuse." Very good question, Mark.
I'm not sure. It's not motivation, mate. These are professional footballers. They're getting fine money. You're going to Man City away. If you need to get motivated, go and play at Manchester City away in that arena against, supposedly one of the best football teams in the world. You should not be playing football, mate. Trust me. Right? It's not. I don't think it's about motivation. It's all about, Gimli's previous question. You got footballers that go out onto the football pitch, and they're feeling the game. They can feel the game more than the manager, all the coaches, and even the fans, right? They're out there. They're in the middle of it. They should be able to adapt themselves, right? They can feel the game going. If they all of a sudden, if they're getting down on the left hand, if they're getting passes on the left-hand side, you've got to make Alex Iwobi sit in there. Don't move out of that position there. Do not go over the halfway line. They sit tight, pull the fullbacks in nice and tight in for the next 10 or 15 minutes. Just see how we go, and we'll get chances later on in the game. But we don't. We haven't got that natural leader, like the boys have said, on the pitch. But having said that, there is a shortage of leaders all over the world. To be honest with you, you don't see many leaders anymore like you see in the old days of Adams and John Terry, etc., etc. You know, but they've got to be able to work it out themselves, the boys on the pitch, and that's where the problem lies. In the game, when teams do change up to try and get a one over on us, we've got to be able to adapt to that and work it out for ourselves on the pitch.
And also, it should be pointed out that we've lost 2 games back to back in the Premier League, but before that, we'd lost 1 in about 24. So it's 2 games does not make the end of a season. Although,
but the Everton game didn't piss me off. Well, obviously, no one likes to lose, and I was upset that we lost. But it didn't piss me off in the way that I saw some going on Twitter. It was the Man City game was for me was the one that was just like, shit, you've made us sit through Everton. It was a poor performance against Everton. I can't remember who it was, but at the start of this podcast, someone said, you'd have thought that they would have come out against Man City, all guns blazing, trying to reward the fans for such a shitty performance in the week. But they didn't. And I think that's the bitterest pill to swallow out of say, the last week of football.
You're right. It's not going up to Man City and getting beat, because it is a toss-up. You know, there is one of the games at the start of the year where you're going to look at it and, well, that's going to be a tough game no matter what happens, right? And you can forgive them for getting beat at Manchester City sometimes. It's the manner they got beat, the way we just rolled over. It was ridiculous.
No, I agree, Geoff.
Our next one is to John from some Canadian bloke called Dominic. He says, what's happened to John Welsh's beard? It used to be elite and it is now turned out of form for months.
Honestly, that clearly Australian bloke pretending to be Canadian, because a real Canadian would be polite and only say nice things, and also obviously they'd apologise first before they said anything.
Then apologise after.
Yeah, don't listen to that Aussie bloke. He can't even grow a moustache. Don't know what he's on about.
John, what is all this beard stuff about?
It's seriously, it's jealousy. That's all it is, Gim. It's pure jealousy. They look at me, they look at Danny, and then they wish they could grow a beard. You see what Chris has done to his face. I don't know what's going on there. Looks like some sort of...
more like to the point, what's he done with his hair? It's
actually, it's not just that now. Have you seen his boots and the bed sheets?
He hasn't gone full carpenter, has he?
He's gone. There's full carpenter and there's full Neuer. He's done a double.
Where's is he auditioning to go in the WWE or something? Because that hair is camp as tits.
That's his dream. What would you do, Gimli, if Geoff or Dom called you Birdie?
Called me what?
Birdie.
Birdie.
Buddy.
Buddy. Oh, I don't know.
Don't call me Birdie. Don't call me friend. You did that when Geoff was on. The South Park skit.
Oh,
you're a fucking idiot.
No, when it's not even a real country. Blame Canada.
Yes, right. Next question is from Mr. Alex Alves, who is official, the ABW question Santa, because he has sent us a question last December and this December. And I tell you what, I can't wait till next December.
Since Canada came along, blame Canada.
Right, this is a question from you, from Alex. He says, whilst not meaning to make this a Wenger in or out question that drags on, would it not be better for Wenger to extend his contract so that he doesn't have to deal with such baffling abuse by, quote marks, fans and journalists, and leave so new blood can come in?
Is this for me, Dan?
It's for Gimli.
No, give it to Geoff.
No, carry on, Gim.
No, Geoff, you have it. I insist.
Don't bottle it, Gim. Go on, you carry on.
No, you have it. You have it. I insist.
I'll pick you up on what you say afterwards. Don't you worry about that.
Poison chalice. Take it, Gimli. Drink deep.
It's a good one, isn't it? Do I think that he should sign a new contract so he doesn't have to deal with any of our muggy fans anymore?
That's it.
Sean's
just had a poo, by the way.
I love that.
I think, with him, I think I can only support him where the team is doing well. 2 losses out of the last, 3 losses out of the last 24 games, and we've played some incredible football this season. I think if I look at how I felt before Everton, I wouldn't have had a bad word to say about Arsene Wenger. So to sit here 2 days later and say that I want him to lose, or 2 games later, sorry, and say that I want him to lose his job would be utterly fucking ridiculous. there is a couple of ways you've got to look at it. Who else in Europe comes in and does a better job than him? Or
Don't know until you try.
or do you hope that new blood, whomever that may be, comes in and freshens it up a little bit? Yes, I do think he should sign a new contract.
There you go, Geoff. My answer from earlier, Mancini. I've picked one. Won the Premier League already. Decent manager. Won the league 3 or 4 times in a row in Italy.
He's getting a PSG job, isn't he?
Oh, fuck it. I'll give up. I'll go back to I don't know then. Well,
Wasn't he someone like FC Shitov or something like that? Or is he? Or am I thinking that? Fucking, I don't know.
No, you're thinking of the bloke who
Villas Boas. I'm thinking Villas Boas.
Yes,
that's what I'm thinking.
He's in China now, isn't he?
Oh, why not? Everyone else is getting bin bags full of money. This one will be for Geoff. He says, this is from James. He says, oh, this is a good one. In the light of recent matches, would you sign Alexis or Ozil or both, or wait? I made a typo. I mean sell, not sign. That's cheeky James in New York, I think.
New York.
Would just don't make sense. Would I sign either of them or both of them?
Would you sell either of them?
Sell them? No.
Yeah.
Wow,
no matter what.
Crazy. No. Well, if it comes down to the last, is it this year, this Christmas that they can, or is it next? When
Christmas.
Is it they can start
January 2018. They got a year and a half left.
Yeah. Okay. So when can they start negotiating? A year in advance, isn't it?
That's 1 year. Yeah. So it's
1 year in January.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so it's January 2018.
So you don't really want to be getting into that stage because you could get in a situation like Van Persie. Trust me, it's easy done. But
question for you, Geoff, just quickly, just jump in there. If it goes into the same situation as a Van Persie, bearing in mind Sanchez making the same kind of goals to the team, how much do you think you get for him?
Oh, you get top money. Well, if you would get top money from you still get more than what we paid for him, but obviously it's going to be a little bit less because
60, 70 million.
He's out of contract. I don't know. I'm still not sure he's going to be 60 or 70 million pounds worth to a team. You know, like I think it was John said earlier on. There's not that many teams that can really afford to buy him and give him that top money. But I think Chelsea, I think City would do it just to weaken a rival. I mean, they did that to us when they first got that bit of readies that they got. The first thing they did,
Sanya,
they thought, okay, well, we're out the top 6. We're out the top 6. Let's get into the top 4. They come along. They said, well, okay, we'll weaken the next best team, which is Arsenal. They took 4 or 5 of our players, which worked. But thank God for us, we stayed in the top 4 as well. So there are teams out there that can afford him. But you know, you got to. I think 200 grand gets it over the line.
Fair enough.
Bloody hell! Right, next question is going to be from Ellis. It's from Josh. He says, if Ellis could pick any one player from the ABW FIFA team to play for Arsenal, which would it be and why? And Jason, Mr. Davis has told me, don't you dare ask that fucking question.
I was going to say, Jason's not going to be happy with that question, is he?
No.
If I had to pick anyone, it'd obviously be me, because then I'd get to play for Arsenal.
Other than yourself.
Dan scored some screamers. He scored one tonight, apparently. I saw the video, so probably him. Maybe. But he's a greedy fucker, so he wouldn't work well in the team. Anyway.
Okay. Yonko Abs has one. This is a good idea. He did it on his phone, cut it and pasted it and tweeted as it. This one can be for you, Gimli. Oh no, you just had one, didn't you? Or actually, yeah.
It's John, it's John's turn. John's up. Yeah.
All right. He says, if the manager can't motivate his players for any one of Everton or City away in the same week, how was he going to motivate them in April for the final run-in push to the title when the pressure is really on?
I don't think he is. To be honest, I think the not winning the league last season was fucking criminal. To be perfectly honest, it was there for the taking, and we didn't do it. Great credit to Leicester, well done them and everything, but fuck me, that was the easiest we've had it to win the league, and we just completely fell apart. So again, I'm not saying sack the manager. I like Arsene, he's done amazing things for the club. I just think at some point everyone, regardless of how good you are, there always comes a point where football passes you by, and you're not up there at the very, very top anymore. And I don't think he is. So I don't think he can motivate them. I think he has. Who was it? Who's the journalist you like, Danny? Philippe Auclair described it best. He said Arsene likes jazz players on the pitch. He doesn't like to tell them what to do or give them instructions, that kind of thing. He wants them to be artists and go out there and freestyle it all, and and just let them do it naturally. And that's how you get the best out of them. And that's great. That's fine when you're winning games and you're against the smaller teams, but against the big teams it doesn't work. And then previous teams he had players who could change things on the pitch, like Vieira and Adams or Omri, big characters in the dressing room, and he hasn't got them anymore. So it's down to him to do that. And I'm not sure he's not capable of it. It's just something he doesn't want to do. It's not his style.
Well, there you go. From a sensible question to a stupid question from Dimitri Sandal for Gimli. He says, have you started to enjoy our yearly collapse like some kind of stinky cheese?
No, of course I don't. I mean, I hate the jokes that go on in the media, and you saw against the game against Man City, Paddy Power tweeted loads of derogatory shit as well. It's a miserable time of the year. I fucking hate Christmas. Arsenal are always shit, and I fail to see what's positive.
Here's one for Geoff from Noma, who is brilliant, and she always sends us in great questions. She says, should we try Koscielny Holding combination this weekend?
Well, you know what? To be honest with you, I don't think Gabriel's been that bad. I think I think he impressed me a little bit. From before, I was like everybody. I was thinking, the kid's terrified as soon as he gets the ball or the ball's on its way to him, and you can just feel how nervous he is. I think he's looked all right. He's made a mistake for the goal. He's tried to more or less play offside with that Sane goal when no one was pressing the ball. And if there's no one pressing the ball and you've got a player like David Silva on the ball, he's gonna rip you apart. So he's flicked it over. Now, if no one's pressing the ball, mate, you've got to drop 2 or 3 yards and have a race with a guy, rather than try and push up and play that, what do you call it? I think give him a run now. I don't think he's been doing that bad, to be perfectly honest with Gabriel.
Okie dokie. Right, next one is for Ellis. This is from Sam. How can you have a DH at the end of your name? Sam.
Huh? I know, he's a nice guy. He was on the transfer deadline day show in the summer, and he was a very, very nice guy. Hello, Sam. Just call him Sam.
Sammy boy, Sammy Zutt. Yeah, this is one for you, Ellis. He says, drop check and start a Spina for the next few games, question mark. Oh, how dare he. What do you think?
I was critical of Czech in both the goals, really, against City, but I don't think I'd drop him. As well as Spina has played when he's had the chance and the opportunity in the Champions League, I still think Czech is the number one goalie. He's just not protected as well as he has been. I know you brought up the stat earlier where it's the first time in his career where he's not kept clean sheet in 8 consecutive games, but you just got to think of who's in front of him. Like, even I point to Mustafi being out of the team, but we didn't keep clean sheets when he was in the team anyway. But I still feel it's a big miss having him there, because Gabriel, for as much as he seems to try hard on the pitch and doesn't hide, I just don't think he's very good. Well, he's not a very good communicator because he's not learned the language yet, and he's struggling with the language. But even then, I don't think he'd be a great communicator either. I think him and Koscielny probably want to play on the same side. They don't really match up as a pair. But I think, like I said, I don't want to be too critical of anyone in particular, but I wouldn't drop Czech. No, not for Spina. Not at the moment, anyway. If he needed it, you don't really need a rest for a goalkeeper, so there's no sort of need to do it unless he is in terrible form. I wouldn't say his form's got that bad just yet.
Okay, have we got a little bit more time for a couple more quick questions, Kim?
Yeah, a couple of quick ones.
Okay. Right, this one, I want you all to answer it, and you can either pick one or the other, and don't explain why. From Ryan Coraci, he says, would you rather see Stan Kroenke sell the club or Ozil and Sanchez sign a new deal each? Ooh, I'll make funny noises and speak on a bit while your brains are ticking. Oh, John's made a decision. Don?
Oh God, that's really hard. Ozil and Sanchez sign new deals.
Oh, Geoff.
It's a ridiculous question, mate. It's not going to happen.
That's what they do.
How do you have all this on? Who's administration on this department?
Would you
Fuck's sake.
rather a hand that is ham that you can eat or an armpit that dispenses suntan cream?
I'd like a nice
See?
steak sandwich.
Does
There
the
you go.
hand grow back?
It does, but that's
Oh,
the same rate as your fingernails.
It's a fucking ham then every time.
Oh, you
You don't live in Wales. It's fucking very rarely sunny here.
hand.
that's Richard Herring for you. So, Geoff, which one are you going to pick? That's
A lot of
ridiculous.
it's a bollocks question. I refuse.
Give it a bollocks answer and say
No,
both or neither.
Well,
Go pork hand, Geoff. That's where I'm at.
But they're both. I think they'll both be here by the end of the season. That's for sure.
Hey, there you go. Nothing but commitment. Gim, what's your answer?
Pork hand.
Huh?
I'm going the hand of pork that grows, the ham hand that where you eat a finger and it'll grow. Like, how long does it
Yes.
take to grow back? Is that like with hours or?
Oh, the same
Right.
rate as your fingernails.
Oh no, I'm not sure. Wow, that's a bit
That's the
slow.
emergency question for Richard Herring's podcast. Anyway,
Can I
you've had
change-
your time.
Can I change the ham to pepperami fingers?
You can change it to marijuana buds.
And I like my palm to be a nice bit of Hazlitt.
Pig brain. Ellis, what's your answer?
If your hand was made of pork, would your nails still be nails, or would your nails be pork?
No, surely the nails would be the crackling.
Oh, yes. Ham
Oh,
hand then, ham hand, all day long, crackling toenails and
And how about
fingernails.
the,
Toenails? Fingernails.
Stan Kroenke, Ozil Sanchez thing, and you refuse to answer it on the basis that it's ridiculous.
I just I'm not a fan of I can't even say his fucking name. I'm not a fan of him, but I'd rather have Sanchez and Ozil sign. If I'm
Personally,
serious.
I would always say to get rid of Stan, but then I think the new owners will probably be Chinese, and then our club will turn into a laughing stock even more than people already think it is when it isn't. How do you pronounce FAIQ?
fake.
There you go. I'm not even going to attempt that. Says, right, I want this answer from all of you. What are your guys' thoughts on the players' motivation coming out for the second half against City? Watch the tunnel cam. Gimli, you can answer that one because I read the wrong question.
I think I think I saw this. It wasn't it's Xhaka. He was going down the tunnel and he was saying that he was shouting out that the team needs to remain focused and be on the ball or something like that. I can't necessarily remember what he said exactly. But it only seemed like it was Xhaka. They all walked out together, didn't they? I failed to see what the relevance of it is. Am I being silly? I don't know.
That's your answer. And finally, as it's a festive time of year, Neil McKeown, no relation to Martin Keown. We actually had a McKeown play for the club. Ended up fucked off the Dundee at one point. He says cranberry
Drive there bare
sauce.
feet.
What?
Did he drive there bare feet? Had a couple of Toblerones in the passenger seat.
He did, and he did a special lap dance. He says cranberry sauce or cranberry jelly. Gimli, which one?
Neither. They're both fucking dirt.
Hallelujah. John.
Yeah, neither. Not for me.
Brilliant. Ellis.
Sauce, jelly's weird.
How dare you. Jeff.
Not for me, mate.
Good.
Oh,
Neil,
can I get a bar humbug from anybody here?
What a load of bollocks. It's your own weight in tick gravy and as many Yorkshire puddings and roast potatoes you can fit on the plate with lots of meat and fuck all veg. That's what you want for your Christmas dinner, and that's what I'll be having.
And pigs and blankets. Don't forget pigs and blankets.
Well, those fuckers at Tesco's didn't deliver our streaky bacon.
There's only one thing I like moist, Danny, and it ain't me food.
Look, leave chatbait out of this, you disgusting human being.
42-year-old Lisa from Essex.
I just want to say thank you to Giroud's Bay, Paul W, Abbas Galib, and I think that's everybody. Yeah, thank you very much to all you lot. And I think a few other people have asked late questions. So all we've got to do now, Gimli, is do the hellos and
Predictions, and then we're done.
I've even wrote out my prediction, and I've already done my shout thing, my gentleman's nod.
I'm well out the picture with the old predictions, but I'm going to try and claw it back.
Good luck.
Right, predictions for West Brom at home, Danny.
2-1 Sanchez.
Marvellous. Geoff?
I'm going to go. I'm going to go 2-0. 2-0 Sanchez.
Marvellous. Ellis?
3-1 Walcott.
Fucking hell, it took your time.
3-1. Oh, fucking it. Koscielny.
And I am going 1-0 Alexis. And finally, the shout-outs. I'm going to start first, and my shout-out goes to Mark J Fine, and that's MarkJFine.
He's fine.
He sent me a tweet earlier on today, welcoming me back to the podcast, and he correctly pointed out that I've never actually left. I've just been poorly imitating Pirate and Leak for the past few weeks.
No one had said you'd left. We said you were busy. You were away. You should really see what I've wrote in your thing for the introduction for the on the website.
Jesus, I'll wait. No one picked up on Pirate and Leak. I reckon they could be a crime-fighting duo, Chris and Jace. Pirate and Leak.
Pirate and Leak. Yeah, you say that to Jace, he'll murder you.
I know, he only lives like fucking 20 minutes down the road.
Oh, no.
Love you, Jace. We'll go back to front then. And John, if you'd like to start us off.
Yeah, I'm going to give mine to the other Geoff, our chief blogger, at Hollandfrund, HOLLEFREUND. All his wonderful stuff for the blogs and his website, Smartetta. You can get some amazing analytics, and there's all sorts of bar graphs and pie charts and lots of complicated things that I don't understand. But he explains it all nicely for you in his lovely Canadian accent.
He is.
What's that all about?
Well, all about. Ellis?
I shall go to Stefan Selby, top man. He runs the FIFA ABW club. So if you've got an Xbox One, you play FIFA, he's the man to talk to. Really good guy, and he's at the tall blonde one, and one's the number one, not one O-N-E. Give him a follow.
Marvellous. Geoff?
Yeah, a charming chap called Brett_Leverton, Leverton. Now, we've not always seen eye to eye. Obviously, we've got disagreements over the manager. But you know what? It's always been respectful, and I like that. Not like the abuse that I seem to have every single time Arsenal drop a point for no fucking other reason.
It's your fault.
Well, yeah, of course it's my fault. But you know, he's a lovely lad, and he goes over there every single week. I think he sits in club level, but he's a wheelchair bound chap.
Don't trust them fuckers.
If he carries on, I'm going to threaten you. So you can go down and sort him out. You can have a wheel off, can't you?
Oh, it'd be like Robot Wars.
I don't like that lot at the best of times. Robot Wars.
He's a top lad, though, Brett. Fair play.
Sergeant Slash, that's what you'd be telling.
Piss off.
Oh, lovely. No, I know Brett. He is a lovely guy. I echo exactly what Geoff said. Go and give him a follow. Danny.
UZ. That's his the name he likes to be known as on Twitter as at Mr. Arsenal 93. He has gone into a hell of a lot of detail and done a massive big write-up. I've read some of it about how unlucky Arsenal have been. He's gone through every single game and gone, this game, bad referee and got a player sent off. This player, bad referee and had a goal against us, had a goal disallowed. And he's gone through every single game and written it all up. And I sent it to OG and he's had a look and he's gone, wow, that's impressive stuff. So, yeah, maybe he should publish it somewhere. Don't ask us to do it because it's too much like hard work. But yeah, that's just really nice to spend all that time writing it, and that's a hell of a list he's got there. So, Mr. Arsenal 93.
Go give them a follow, people. I believe that's just about all we've got time for this evening. Not unless you've got anything you wanted to say, Danny.
No.
So all that's left then is to thank my wonderful panelists tonight. Danny, Geoff, Ellis and John. No, I've done that wrong. Geoff, Ellis, John and Danny. I wanted to be here. See, it's changed.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say have to. I wanted to.
Oh.
All the lovely people that listen to this every week, I'd just like to say a massive, massive thank you from all of us here for sticking through us through the year and listening on a weekly basis. We hope we entertain you and we enjoy doing it every single week. We'd just like to take this opportunity to wish you a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all of us at ABW. Although, I believe there's one on the 29th, isn't there, Danny?
I think there could well be, and I think it could see either Jason or Chris hosting because you're away visiting family.
Yes, I am indeed. But I will be back for the first one of the new year. So
if we make it.
That's
the world at the moment, isn't it?
I mean, my liver is already pickled, so there are chances that I could die of liver failure over Christmas.
For a dialysis machine for you, and you can carry on drinking like a fish.
There is even going to be a radio show on Boxing Day, I think.
Wow.
As well. For the
Chris pulled out that one yet?
No, Chris hasn't pulled out. It's just me and him so far.
Well, probably getting another white appliance delivered that he's getting out of a skip.
Well, there you go. We both like our family that much, so we thought we'd have Boxing Day away from.
Marvellous. That sounds good to me. So.
You've forgotten what to say, haven't you, you twat? That was a Bergkamp Wonderland. Thank you very much for listening, and good night is what you say.
I know. I've only had one spliff this whole podcast.
Oh, look at you. Well done.
I've probably had at least 4 by this point.
That's 1 hour sober.
I know. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and have a very Merry Christmas. Good night.
Bye.
Cheeky bitches.
Geoff, if you just talk for a little bit about your the hardships you have in life.
Well, I've been running around central London all day long on my scooter, up and down Kensington, Knightsbridge. I've been over to Canary Wharf, back again to near the Arsenal, and then back into the West End again.
Did anybody try and run you down? Any Ubers?
Oh, mate, honestly, it's like a minefield out there. Honestly, you never know. They just turn left on you because you know what? They're looking at their sat navs all the time.
You should hire John. He'll run down and piggyback you wherever you need to
go. That's why I moan all the time, because they're fucking useless, mate. I don't mind it, but the problem is it's that they're not looking on the road. The amount of accidents that you see.
I see the one you tweeted last night where they had to cut the roof off.
Oh, I see them and they're all in funny shapes. What I mean is they're just like doing U-turns in the middle of the road, and you think to yourself, well, how the fuck did you get in such a state, mate? You know what I mean?
Because where they come from, they don't have roads.
But they just don't know where it's going. It's telling us the problem.
Moon.
They're going
I seen
down,
the video one the other day. He was DJing on his iPad. Yeah, as he's driving along.
Honestly, I tell you what it is, right? That you just know that they're just they've got no idea where they're going, right? Because they're getting caught down one-way streets where if you lived in London for any amount of time, right? You know you can't go down that. Tottenham Court Road. I was going down Tottenham Court Road the other day, right? It's one way. It's always only been one way, right? A man turned left on me out of a side street, and if I wasn't there, it'd run someone over.
Well, that's the extra sorted. Cheers, Geoff. That'll keep everyone happy. There you go.
I believe I fucking forgot the end there. I knew it began with an H, but then I stopped at ha. You could leave that in. I have to replay that noise to Kate later. It might make her tingly.
Oh God.
Enjoyed that though. That's a good podcast. That was
good.
Yeah, I love that. That's fun.
Yeah, good stuff.
We had been on the other side.
From Ellis having a fucking microphone not on mute and moving furniture in the house.
I've got a fucking headset and it's got like a thing that you press and it mutes. And normally on the radio show that just mutes it normally, but obviously it didn't. So I was just rattling away.
Yeah, literally rattling furniture, scraping it along the floor like you're having bloody a poltergeist there.
We've had a great night tonight, and Dan, I don't suppose it'll take you too long getting out of there, will it?
No editing as usual because you lot are all pros.
Nice and simple.
Except from me.
I suppose you've got to close a few of Ellis's gaps up, and then might sort it out.
Listen, I'd run down and do that injection. That was fucking funny. My dad is such a baby.
Listen, anyway, God bless you, boys. I'm off. Yeah.
Cheers, Geoff.
Have a good
Christmas, Geoff.
God bless.
Take it steady. Bye bye.
Everyone.